Okay, so today is Tuesday, September 20th. I welcome all of you, and I will tell you there is nothing more fantastic than to walk in and see all of you putting up your posters. So, my guess, oh God, don't do that. my guess is when you look at it, I'm thinking intrinsically, you feel pretty awesome that you created something of that scale. Is that fair to say? Yeah, I see some nods. Okay, some nods. Okay, so let's talk about what today is going to be. I think we're going to start off first by um, talking about the posters, but I want to talk to you about. I want to be really clear with all of you about my job as an instructor. Which so you know what the expectations are in case there's any gray area. John and I take enormous joy and delight in your success. If there's something that is not clear, then I believe there's something that I inadequately imparted or didn't impart, or there was a hole in something in my teaching that didn't give you the support that you needed. Okay? And if you're struggling or something's not clear, my job and my joy, my complete joy, is to help support you. Okay? So never, please, never be afraid to ask questions. Never be afraid to own up to, I don't get it. Never be afraid to say, I'm confused by this. Because truly, this is your education. You're here to learn. You're not born knowing any of this stuff. I certainly wasn't born knowing any of it. And all that we desire is to bring out your best, the best in you, and support you doing it. And we know that all of you have incredibly busy lives and outside responsibilities. And so we know that you're going to be giving it your best too. That's what we all aspire to here. So that being said, today is the due date for the project. And I know by seeing your work here, you all know it. If you were, for some reason, there was some snag that you were unable to submit the work on time, and you weren't able to print out your poster today because there was some reason, we do want you to bring it in printed at 100% scale next week, and we will critique it. In addition, we will critique all of these posters today, and my personal desire for all of you, and what I would want, being that last night at 1 a.m. I'm on my phone on Facebook taking a test on how OCD are you. Did you do that? Did anybody do that test? Okay. What'd you get? What'd you get? Right, exactly. And so the reason why I'm making fun of myself, I got 100. Yes, I did. It took me it said take a chill pill is basically what it said, right? And but what I'm going to say is, if there are things that you wish to refine in your poster, and you've printed it 100% today, and you refine it and resubmit to the upload for this assignment a revision based on any feedback you receive that resonates with you that you wish to alter, I encourage you to take the steps, revise it, and add a second, because all of your PDFs should be uploaded, I think, tonight by 11 p.m. Is that the closing time? Yeah, okay. So either if you have time today to fix it or not, but you should upload, if it's already uploaded, that's fine. Don't take it down because you want to acknowledge that it arrived on time. But if you make a secondary upload, then say, here's my revisions to get it up to perfection, okay? One of the things that I hopefully have imparted to all of you is this class is, a lot of this class is about the process, because there's certainly a huge learning curve in understanding practice, learning the tools, and so forth. So I do really encourage you to go overboard sharing your process. I know it's really time consuming. I know it is. I've had to do exactly what you guys are doing myself for my own education. So I know it's time consuming. It's not lost on me what you're doing. It's not just here, let me make you jump through hoops. Process is important, but it also helps me understand, like poor Ivan said he had what, 4 gigabytes to go through to just locate his font.
Every single style of the font is $35.
But you didn't pay for it, right? Oh,
it's
expensive. No, fonts are expensive, which is really an education in yourself too. So, and for that reason, fonts are really expensive. If you buy them professionally, you're buying permission as a professional to use them professionally for your clients. So you own them. And you know, John's gonna bleep this out for me, but many of you will have pirated these fonts, found something similar, found something that mimics it, that are in free fonts, which there's nothing illegal about free fonts, because they're open source fonts, which is John's going to tell you that right now with his arm going up.
I was going to tell you they're not illegal.
They're not illegal.
You can't copyright the face.
Right, you can't copyright the face. But so the point is, but Ivan's 100% right. If you try to buy them, you're going to drop $1 gazillion, which is not what I intend for any of you. Where's I headed with that? So my point is I know how long it took you just to locate your font, for example. So, and that's all part of the learning process as being design professionals too. Like, where do you get your fonts? Do you want to spend the rest of your life designing with Arial only? And there will be times in your life, if you're professional designers, where you will buy the font. And you'll buy the font for a specific client, and they'll pay for it, not you, right? You pass it along to them. So those are important things for you to know. So, so my pep talk, I hope it's a pep talk. I told you I'm kind of loaded today, so I'm sorry if I'm intense. Did it feel like a pep talk, Katie? A little pep talk? Nino says, yeah, okay, thanks. So just understand, I am 100% OCD, so therefore respect perfection. And in the same vein, I understand all of us are here as a learning process, and we're all here just to doing our best. And if I know you're doing your best, that's rock star for me personally. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on pause, our video, and then we're just going to get up and we're going to walk around. I'm going to talk about the posters, and we're going to try to meet the criteria. So the criteria we're going to be looking for is, let's just pull up the assignment so we can look right here. So the type specimen criteria is, look and see, here's our grading rubric, final critique. Oh, this is how to critique for you. Did anybody read this? How to critique, things to consider. These are resources I don't read with you, but they're resources that are available on each assignment. So let me tell you what we're going to critique today. The required elements for the poster will be that you need the name of the typeface on it. Remember, a type specimen poster is designed to entice a graphic designer to fall in love with the font and understand how the font can be used and in what context it'll be used and what it will look like in that context, like what will it look like in a book, as a headline, etc. You should have a paragraph about the typeface or the designer written by you. In the process book of it, it also included asking you to discuss what was going on at the time politically, what were the state of affairs, what was the context that the font was created in. In other words, what was happening in the world that made this font flowery or very minimalist or something, because it probably had to be a reflection of an art trend or a political trend. You needed to show the entire alphabet in uppercase form and lowercase form, including numerals. If you had glyphs, which those are all glyphs, but if you had additional glyphs like an asterisk or a squiggle or a flourish or an ampersand, which is the and sign, that would be awesome if you wanted to include those too. That'd be great. You need a selection of text set in the typeface at a text size, meaning if you opened a book or a newspaper on your poster at that scale, 9-point, 10-point, 11-point, 12-point scale, you would have a paragraph of text. That's not in addition to your history. It really means that the history is probably set in that point size, okay? The size of your poster must be 24 inches by 36 inches. And so that would be your final design size, your finished size, certainly not your thumbnail size. And you should set in tiny type, 8-point type somewhere on your poster design credit that it was designed by you, which is a traditional thing. Often, more so, when I used to design marketing pieces for clients, I always used to put design by, because when I started out, it really mattered to me that I had credentialed myself with my name on it. So that's what I'm getting you started with. I don't necessarily do it now, but often you'll see that photo by, photo credit by, design by, etc. That'll show up in different things. Okay, so those are the elements we will look at here. The other criteria, if you read through this, is there's no photos, no graphics. If you somehow created a graphic without distorting a font, like, I don't know, I see Gil Sands with eyeglasses. So if that is a parentheses and a 0 or a lowercase o or something that made glasses, then that's okay. Then I'll allow that as not a graphic, as letter forms, okay? That's my distinction, just so you know. And then we did talk about in class no gradients. We did talk about never stroking type. I'm trying to think if there's any other criteria on here that we should call attention to, but that's it. And then read carefully about your workflow and your design brief. And then ultimately, I think everybody knows when you submit your PDF file of everything in context, one of the things I might not have demoed for you, which I'm going to launch InDesign just to keep this workflow going before we go to the posters. You should all be including this, your poster in context here, which we demoed last week. And finally, one of the things I know I did not demo, which is something in Acrobat, when you make your poster is going to be 2 feet by 3 feet. Your process book's probably 8.5 by 11, is my guess. Probably. When you're in Acrobat Professional, and I didn't demo this, so I apologize, and I realize I didn't. Here's my type specimen poster with that huge size, right? Just for the sake of it, did you see, let me close that again. Just for the sake of this, don't save. If I'm in InDesign and I reopen last week's poster I created, I'm going to demonstrate again for you how to package your files. So they're going to be sitting on your computer, they're going to be wonderful. You're going to have placed links or graphics or something maybe, because that ampersand was a graphic last week. Do you remember that? Okay. So when I open this 2 feet by 3 foot poster, it says you modified a link. It knows where the link is, so I would click Update Links, because I think I demoed also last week what happens when you remove a link. Did I do that? Yes, okay. All right. So how you know your links are happy and you have them connected, you can go to Window Links, and you won't have a red stop sign and you won't have a yellow warning sign. That means everything's fabulous. And if all your links are connected, if you need to relink them, you can go down here to this link where it says relink, locate them on your computer and relink it. And that's because InDesign, for those of you who are new to InDesign, InDesign is a container to hold type and graphics. And it doesn't embed a graphic in here because you don't paste the graphic, you place the graphic. Remember, you go to File, Place the graphic. So it needs to locate all these graphics out there on your computer, and it needs to sweep them all together, put them in one folder. So if you ever need to reproduce your artwork, or if you send it to print, you can send this folder with all of the links, all of the type, all of the fonts to anybody who has the software to use, and they can access your files and be able to work with them. So for those of you who, for example, today brought your PDF in and wanted to print it but wanted to make a revision on it, you can't make the revision from your PDF because that embeds everything and it's not editable. You would need your original InDesign document with all of the links, all on the same location, all on the same drive or computer in order to revise it. Does everybody understand that? This is called packaging. And packaging is a very simple task. You go to File, you go to Package. The computer, the software, is going to locate all the files. There was only one link here. And you click Package, and then you need to save it. And then this is printing instructions, which most of you can ignore. That would be if I was sending it to a printer, it would make a little text file telling the printer what to do. And you continue. Then it renames it, the name of your file, and then adds the word folder. And I'm going to put that folder on the desktop. And what it will do for you is it will, if you want, make a PDF file. And then you have to tell it what form to make a PDF file. So I don't recommend using that as a default because you're going to want to build your own PDF file your way. And it includes something called an IDML file, which stands for InDesign Markup Language. Yes. And what that means is that if you have an older version of InDesign, you can go back to the IDML file and open that. Harmony, yeah. Is that what that is? Is that what your question was? Who knew, right? Okay, yes.
Just a quick note. This is best practice, but in fact, you can embed your graphics. You'll get into trouble doing it. You can embed your graphics, and you can also edit the PDF. It's just, it's not something you want to plan to do.
It's a whole new conversation, and I'm not going there.
I was just
You're just giving the what ifs. John's right. It is best practice. Editing a PDF creates a whole new can of worms of problems, and you need the right software to be able to do it. And what was the other thing you said? You can embed your graphics, but nonetheless, you can embed your graphics, and then if you make a PDF while they're embedded, you can't edit them ever. You can't. It won't be the right res, but we're not going to discuss.
Well, just for this, just to deconfuse it, just so they know.
I'm keeping it really narrow for you because it's too much to learn. You don't want to know the what ifs yet, do you? You just want to learn the what is. Am I right? Am I right? Okay. I got a nod out of you. Thank you. Okay. All right. I just want to keep it real clean. Learning it real clean is the best way to learn it. So I'm going to call this version 2 because I see I have a version 1 already going on here. And I'm going to pack it, and actually I'm just going to do it today's date, and that we know we're totally what date we're working with, which is really what I prefer doing always for myself. And so I'm going to make a folder, a package folder, and this says don't steal those fonts that you spent $35 a piece on, right? You got to use them only professionally, and there you go. And what happens is I close this up, I go to our desktop, hang on, and there's a whole bigger picture to why we're addressing this. And here's today's folder that I packaged. And you can see it's got the InDesign file, it's got the InDesign markup file for lower versions if you need to open it with, and you don't have the right Creative Cloud version. It has that one link, which was the ampersand, and it has all the fonts that we decided to use embedded. And it takes them here. So then what you ultimately do is you take this folder here and you put it on this computer, like on a flash drive, or pull it off a Google Drive or something like that, and then you can work with it. Then you can scale it, you can do what it is you need to do to it. Now, the best way for you to save this for yourself, oh, let me go to one more thing. So in here, it didn't move things off the original locations. It copied them and put them all in the folder, okay? Is this helpful for you guys on packaging? Is this like uber clear now? Okay. Because if I didn't clarify it, it's truly my fault, and I apologize because I know there's always so much for us to do. Now I can open my InDesign document, and I can drag my links over here. So there it is. When you've created a document that has a bleed, like that ampersand bleeding off the edge of a page, when you PDF your document, you don't just PDF it. And I don't know how you guys handled yours. Because when you print something like this, I think we talked about this briefly. When you print something like this, which is just a postcard, this yellow had to bleed off the edge of the postcard, and the postcard had to print on a bigger sheet, and then somebody had to cut it down. Anything extending beyond the trim of this postcard is called a bleed, okay? Excuse me. So when you create a PDF for printing, you want it to be high resolution. So for your information, just to add details, different print companies have different specs, but you're going to be pretty, and some magazines will always want a PDF X1A. Don't ask me what it is because I don't know. It's just a higher resolution for many publications that embed certain color elements to it for printing. But for what our purpose is, you can go to high quality print. You never want smallest file size because it'll be fuzzy, blurry, low resolution for the web. You'll go to high quality print. It'll take the name of your document. So I'll make today the 20th for us so we know which one we're dealing with. And I can get rid of version 1. I'm going to put it in the folder that I created right here. And then you get a dialog box. And this is the important stuff for you to remember. One is I always view my PDF after I export it and make sure I did it right. I always, you can by default click this, all printer marks and bleeds. But what's that? It's a lot of marks. So Lita's absolutely right. It's a lot of marks. So I tend not to, but you must, listen to the word must, use document bleed settings. And when we set up these 2-foot by 3-foot posters, I suggested that you always build an 1/8 of an inch bleed into them, which is, I don't know if you can see it very well in the back, 0.125 inches. And that means that you're going to extend your artwork. You need to create it this way, extend your artwork beyond the trim. And if you use the document bleed settings, because you set it up that way, all should be good in the world.
If you're tiling, I would recommend you have more than an
Okay, we went over tiling last week. You guys remember I said a 1/2 inch tiling, right? That I don't want to confuse the story.
Okay.
Okay. So add the bleed. This is not for tiling. This is making a PDF. I would turn off the bleed marks. They're kind of unnecessary. The color bars, we don't need them. Color bars are used for, I'm going to leave all this on. I turn off color bars. I'm just going to tell you what I turn off. Color bars are when something gets printed, they measure the ink density using a machine that looks like a brick with a little eyeglass on it called a densitometer, and they measure the ink on the paper when it's printed. I'll show you that one day if you're interested. So I'm going to, and I always put the page information because if you have a million pages, you want to know what page you're on. You want to know the time you made your PDF. Registration marks, you can take them or leave them. But I'm going to just click all of this so you can see what it looks like. Don't forget to have the bleed settings. And we export it, and it's going to open, and this is what we get right here. So let me zoom in so you can see it better. So you receive here. So this is where the paper trims those marks on the inside. The ones on the outside are the bleed marks, which I think are kind of superfluous. This gray band tells us the tint when you put black ink down, how it's holding the tint of the ink at 10% variations. And then as you go across this enormous page, the color bars, that's a registration mark. And they're at north, south, east, and west on a page. And that registration mark, that crosshairs, has to be registered at north, south, east, and west when you print a page, so nothing is what's called out of register, so the type all perfectly aligns so it's clear and legible. And that's when it's printed. This is not stuff you do on the web. It's not a web thing. It's when it's printed at a print shop. Your laser printers here, you press a button, you're never going to be measuring those things. And then here's color bars. This takes the ink, cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. It lets the print shop know what the yellow prints like at 100% yellow, what the magenta prints like at 100% magenta, what the cyan prints like, that turquoise color prints like at 100% cyan. The other colors are random mixes. Those aren't inks that we use. They would be a mixed formula. The black is 100% black, and now you can see at a 20% tint yellow, 20% magenta, 20% cyan, and 20% black. And that densitometer, that thing that looks like a brick, like this, the guy puts it on top of the paper, a little teeny eye spectacle comes out, and a little number reads here, which tells us that the density of the ink all the way across the printed 3-foot, 2-foot page is even. So you get even color balance with ink. So that's what this registration stuff is. Hang on, John. And I zoomed out so you can see that you have crop marks in every corner, registration marks north, south, east, and west, and that's the PDF. Now, the whole reason I went through this process is, 1, to make sure you understood packaging, 2, so you knew why you had the crop marks and the bleeds, in case I skipped this too quickly or didn't address it for some reason, or assumed you already knew it, so I apologize. But what I did this for is for 2 more reasons. Now I'm going to close this file. And so now we've got everything in our beautiful folder, right here. If you want to take this folder home because you worked in the DAC lab and you have stuff on your computer, or you're working on your computer and you want to put stuff to a Google Drive and bring it into the classroom here, you take the folder. I recommend that you are in Finder if you're on a Mac. What's the base called on a PC?
For what?
What would be the base level of the operating system on a PC? Start? Okay. So if you're in the base level, no application specific, you're going to compress. So my folder's highlighted. you go to File, you compress it, and what it does is, right here, look at the top, up at the top, it makes a zipped file. It compresses this file. I think in PCs they're called RAR files.
No, it's
No,
they
it's
do
the
all-
same. It's all the
It's
same.
all the same.
And you just right click it.
Okay, so you know how to compress it. So you zip it, and I suggest that you upload a zip as your backup, like to Dropbox or to Google Drive or wherever it is you store it, because it's now one file. Everything's all tightly loaded in it. And in this class, we're never going to have a lot of graphics in this class, so you're not going to have very large zip files. I made a book that was 40 pages the other day, and I had 1.8 gigabytes. When I had like 3 gigabytes of a folder, and it compressed to 1.8 gigabytes. And when I uploaded it to Dropbox, it was kind of monster. So it created a problem. But the purpose is everything's in that one container. Okay?
I'd like to remind everyone about sync. I have sync on my computer. If I save it to sync, I don't need to go through any of the zip business. It's automatically uploaded. It's automatically there. I can get it from any computer anywhere.
Beautiful. Okay, so the reason I started this whole conversation is one of the things I did not show you, which you might need for this evening when you upload your PDF that's completed this evening, is in Acrobat Professional, not Acrobat Reader, which is free, but Acrobat Professional, which comes with Creative Cloud. You can go to File, Create, and you can combine many files. So let your process book PDF and your poster, right, into one PDF to upload to Moodle. Okay, and how you do that is you go to Combine Files, you click Add Files. It says where do you want them, what are they. So I'm going to go to this one, which was not my poster, it was my process book. And I'm just making these up, I can't remember what I had. Oh, I think that's my big poster, isn't it? It's okay, we'll use that. I'll add that file. I'll add another file right here, Add Files. And I'm going to go locate the folder I just made, this date. I know this is that huge poster, that one file with the PDF with the crop marks. I'm going to add that. I will have also that photograph of it looking like a pretty little poster as a JPEG in my PDF. Yeah, okay. That'll probably be in your process. And then you combine them, and it's going to give you the name of Binder. Oh, this is when I did that really cool stuff link, okay. And it gives you the name of Binder, and I recommend that you go to Save As, and I would personally go back to the folder on my desktop here where I put all my good stuff right here, and I would call this let's say, I forget if I gave you a naming convention, TORF, specimen, and maybe final, and then the date. And if you have already uploaded one, oops, that was a 0, it's supposed to be a 0. If you've already uploaded one, for example, you might have a different date for it, so I would know the most recent date for the newest upload, or you could put revised, so I know that's your next version, your improvement, okay? And I would save it, and then what you notice is, it's not very pretty, but that was what I combined. So that was one file, and that was our other file. That's how you combine multiple PDFs into one, okay?
I'm not sure what all is involved in the smallest file size, but the main thing is graphics, or raster graphics. All these posters, if you put them out at smallest file size, they would look the same because they're all vector.
Yeah, probably.
There may
Yes.
be some other things involved.
Okay, so I know I didn't show you how to combine PDFs. Did I show you how to package properly previously? This was a useful wrap up. Yeah.
So if we, I just submit PDFs separately, uploaded two things.
That's
to
fine.
the-
It's
okay.
I prefer one PDF. It's one download for me to grade. Otherwise, it's double work, right? And if you have 25 people, it's not 25 downloads, it's 50 downloads if it's more than one file. So I prefer it. I never want your InDesign files because I will never be able to do anything with them. You'll be missing links and I won't be able to do anything. I might not be able to open them. I only want PDF files. Okay? Yes.
Register packaging the image in context and the PDF together.
I package them and I put my PDF in there for my own organizational way of handling it. The only thing you will upload for grading, sorry, I have hair in my mouth. The only thing I will grade from will be your PDF, because your PDF will have everything embedded and I will see it as you intended. We did have a conversation, and I don't know if people remember this. This is a little aside. If you got a free font that might not be a professional font, sometimes even if you make a PDF for that font on your computer, on your own computer, it will look beautiful because that font is on your computer. But you might bring that font here on campus, look at you might bring that PDF on campus, load it on a different computer that doesn't have that font, and it may look terrible. Did we talk about that?
I have that experience.
Wait, now it's two voices at once for me. Okay, out of this ear I heard I have something.
I had that experience.
You had that experience before.
I made
Okay.
PPT with the font in my computer and then I bring it to school.
Did everybody hear
Doesn't-
Ashley? Ashley had that experience. It looked beautiful on her computer at home. She brought it to school and it looked like
didn't work.
it wasn't the font that you had.
That was
And then-
PDF.
In a PDF. This is what happens in a PDF. And Elida, you said if you're using a font that is not open type, OTF, an open typeface, open type font,
Or TTF.
or a true type font, which reads on a PC and a Mac the same, TTF, then you may have that problem. And Elida's right. The way around that problem is to take that font before you make your PDF. So let me just be really clear because you might run into it. So if you have a font that is not a professional font, for some reason I have type in here, so let's see what it is. Okay. So if this were not a professional font and it were not loaded on the computer, it's going to look beautiful on my computer no matter what I do because the font's loaded on my computer, right? Everybody gets that. You won't know it's going to be bad. You won't know until you go somewhere and you go, oh my God. So what you do is you take this file now that has type that you can edit because it's type and you can change it, and you save your document like that. Then you take the same document, you resave it. This is so you don't accidentally make a change that's not reversible, and you call it outline. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it George, but I call it outline, which means I know that I'm now going to outline my type, which means once you outline type, it's no longer type, it's now a vector graphic. And then you take this type box, you go to type, you go to create outlines, and now if you look at it, it's vector. Vector meaning it's artwork. So if I, for example, wanted to, who told me they did this? If I wanted to take the white arrow, hang on one second, Erna, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I wanted to make that eye go all the way down the page like Kuhn did in Futura, you could now just grab those 2 points of the vector and manipulate it because it's art, it's no longer type. But if I spelled Ariel wrong and I should have had an E instead of an A, and if I didn't have my original file, I'd be out of luck. I'd have to redo my artwork because I can't edit this because it's no longer typed. Everybody gets that? Yeah? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
So, you went over this last class, so I was able to look at the video and figure it out. For some reason, I was having a hard time doing it in design. Like, I had the type selected, and I went to create an outline, and I got like a error message.
It wouldn't create for you.
It wouldn't, so I did it in Illustrator and
Brought it in.
in design. Do you know what
Why?
why that might have been?
Why? Because I just demoed it and it was fine, right?
Yeah.
You might not have had your type box selected. You might not have your type box selected at the time. And that would be it. Would be the only reason it wouldn't work.
Okay.
That's the only thing I can think of. Or you had a type and a graphic box selected at the same time, but still it usually doesn't even matter. Like I could select all, on a page and it would only convert the type boxes and it would ignore graphic boxes. So I don't know. You probably just didn't have it selected.
If it happens again, I'll do a screenshot.
Do a screenshot. Yeah, that's good. Yes, Harmony. Yes. Oh, it made it funky. Yeah, I don't know why it did that. I don't have a good answer for you. So she had it set optically, and then when she converted it to outline, it changed her kerning. Right? Did you turn it off? Thanks. Thanks. I don't know why. I don't know why. One of the things John said to you earlier was you can edit type in Acrobat. Acrobat Professional lets you edit type, but it's a disaster. Trust me. It's a disaster. It doesn't understand line lengths, kerning, any of the nuances that you're going to spend your life energy doing. It's a disaster. Don't ever plan to edit type in Acrobat.
But you might have to. It can happen.
Yeah, I hope you never have to. Let's just leave it at that. Let's just have good work practices, and that's the way to go about it. I actually had exactly that. I'll tell you where it had to happen. It had to happen on Thursday last week. Who knew? I built a book. It was a 40-page book. There was an ad in the book. That one of the ads was supplied as a PDF file. The people who supplied the PDF, and they squeaked the ad in after the deadline time, because everybody does. We're all guilty of it. And the book had to go to print, and I had to edit the ad because they put the wrong information. It was a tribute book to somebody who was being honored for an event, and they put the entirely wrong information about the honor the person was receiving. He wasn't receiving the most valuable player award. He was receiving the worst player award. So I had to change the word valuable to worst, right? You know, I'm making this up, but you get the idea. And so I had to take the PDF. I opened the PDF in Illustrator, and I was able to, and every letter had its own little letter. Then when I opened it in Illustrator, it says, I don't know what this font is. I can't see it. And I had to fake it. And it was a disaster. And then when I did it, I had the same thing happen that happened to you, Harmony, which is all my beautiful kerning, all their beautiful kerning, even though it was all inaccurate. Put a letter over here, put a letter over here, and I had to take one letter at a time and move them over. And I could have said, can you send me a new ad? But we were down to crunch deadline, and we did what we had to do. So that might be all I can project that you would want to do. Yes, sir.
I've had occasion to do that also, and I found that I can bring it into InDesign and then just go over the text and just reset all the text.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and then re-export.
Yes. Yes, but that would make me put together a really bad whole ad that, and I mean, it had stuff everywhere. I mean, it was just not a pragmatic thing. But anyway, there you go. There's all our stories. So out of that long talk, are there any questions, anything I didn't go over, anything that you stumbled over struggling to get here? You know, the struggle, you know, if there's a struggle, I hate to tell you this, it's not necessarily a bad thing because that's where we learn our stuff, right? Like your workaround for the create outlines, right? Anything I didn't cover? I know, you're like, Vicki, I don't know what it is I don't know, so I don't know how to ask you a question, right? Right? Is that fair? Yeah, okay. All right, so we went over packaging, we went over combining PDF files, different PDF files into one. We went into, and you can sequence the files by moving them around, by the way, when you combine the PDFs. We went over creating outlines. We went over manipulating type when it's a vector. We went over buying fonts, not buying fonts. We went over fonts that you can work with, open type fonts, which you've read about in your book. Yes, you're all taking book quizzes. Yes. Okay, beautiful. So that we'll leave that. And before we go, let me just finish what we're going to do before we critique. So today, go back. So today is the 20th. Let me call attention to a few things just so we can get all this chatter over. I apologize to you because this kerning exercise had the wrong due date. Everybody saw that? If you did it, I fixed it. So I believe that when you're in Moodle, let's go back to Moodle and go to assignments. So you can see, here we are, September. Here's the kerning exercise, and here's the dating game exercise, which should be completed today. We did that last week. We fixed it. We went over it. You'll remember that. I basically gave you 2 weeks once it's introduced to upload, okay? Anybody have trouble with any of this? You probably have an old version of Flash.
Like when I try to click on it, it doesn't do it.
Oh, well,
Like it runs, but I can't like drag the letters. Yeah, I tried that.
that didn't work? Okay, so can you do it on these computers?
Probably.
Okay, so do it on one of these computers. I mean, it's not an assignment that's you're gonna spend your life doing, so, okay? I'm not sure why. There's also the letter shaping game, which I will introduce to you if we have time. It's kind of fun. It's gonna really help you more than anything learn vector drawing, honestly. But there's your due dates, and I apologize that they weren't correct. So it mostly gave you 2 additional weeks. So that's current. The other thing is right here, you have these assignments of creating type archives and uploading type inspiration, and you're uploading them to a Google Drive. And it's for your purpose. It's for your learning. I will be looking through them, as will John, and we will be grading them. But it's for you, okay? It's for you to get inspiration and drown a little bit in typography. All right, any question about that? Okay. And the other thing I don't do, truly, is hold your hand with taking these quizzes. But take them. Nobody's having trouble with them, is that right? They're kind of a giveaway grade, right? Yeah, a little bit of a giveaway.
Sometimes it's hard to find like some information
In the book?
in the book and in the activities.
Oh,
Like one of your activities for the last one,
Uh,
chapter 4,
uh-huh.
like half of it was like dead, at least for me.
Was dead?
Yeah, if you look at the activity, if you go back to typography is there.
Oh, is it dead link
Well, it's not a dead link.
to this you're talking about?
Yeah, go back there and go down to the activity
Oh, it doesn't show.
Yeah.
Oh, when you were reading this,
Yeah.
I will fix this. Can you make a note?
Yeah.
So it's like half of like all the information.
Yeah, you have poor
And there
links,
wasn't
right?
even there.
But just know that the quizzes are 100% out of the book. Every answer you should find should be in the book. You didn't.
No, I found it on the link.
You found it on the links. Okay, well, I will fix that for you. Did it screw you up?
Yeah.
It screwed you up?
Yeah.
Okay. And which quiz was that?
That was quiz 3.
Quiz 3. Okay, I will go through quiz 3 and see where the flaw is. Okay? Quiz 3, chapter 4. Okay, chapter 4, quiz 3. I will go look. I will chase it down. Thank you. So for the most part, you should all be pretty successful with these. Is everybody finding that's the case? Okay, thank you. It's for the sole purpose of encouraging you to read the book. And we run out of time, so I could stand up here and lecture on the book, but I figure you're reading it. You don't need me to tell you what you're reading, right? Okay. And then lastly, we will essentially today have finished the type specimen poster. Next week, like I said, for those of you who didn't have the opportunity to bring it in or after a critique decide they want to revamp it and bring it in again, we'll go through them pretty quickly next week. But make sure that this week if you're satisfied with your poster, that you're current on your quizzes, you're current on your creating a type archive uploads, and that you've done the exercises, which are certainly available ahead of time. You don't need to wait because they're kind of fun. And then I'm going to wait until next week to introduce our next assignment, which is designing a restaurant brand and a restaurant menu. Okay? And then we get to go restaurant shopping, eating. Okay. Any questions?
How much is like the
According to the school, and I this is recorded, so I need to tell you exactly what the rules are for the school. But I always love people who push the envelope and resubmit and do better. So I'm just going to tell you the school rules, not the Vicky rules. How's that for a politic answer, if everybody hears me clearly? Okay, so the politic answer is anything late gets 20% taken off. Well, okay, let me tell you this. Let me tell you the school rules. Here. The school rule is today your assignment's due. It needs to be uploaded by, what is the due date? Drop dead, 11 p.m. Is that it? If it's not uploaded by that and you haven't uploaded it by that date, then you get the grade of whatever is uploaded, period. If it's uploaded, you are allowed to redo it to improve your grade. The school rules are, this is the department rule actually. The department rule is that if you've already got a 90%, you don't need to redo it. If you've done lower than a 90%, you can redo it to increase your grade. If you haven't submitted it by the late assignment date, if you haven't submitted it by the absolute due date, you can't redo it and you get the grade you get. So that would be a 0. The Vicky rules are, this is your first assignment. This is a huge assignment. My expectation, as you already know, is huge. So I say knock yourself out and give it your best shot, and I'm going to respect you for giving it your best shot. That's the Vicky rules, okay? I'm telling you the go by the book rules because if ever there is a dispute on campus, you got to go by the book because that's the rules on campus. The Vicky rules are give it your best shot, and I will applaud you for it because that's who can ask for that, right? That's the best. The best. Yeah. Okay. That answer your question? Vaguely.
maybe.
I understand. Give it your best shot.
Okay.
That's what I want you to do. Okay. You know better than anybody that that's what I want. Your best shot. Okay. Okay. Got that? Okay. Does that help you too? Okie dokie. Anything else? Yeah? Yeah? You with me? Okay. All right. Then I'm going to pause our video. I'm probably not coming back to the computer again today because I can't think of anything else to tell you except get all that exercises, forum posts, discussions, quizzes out of the way because you'll hit the ground running again next week with our next big project, which will be the restaurant thing. Okay. I do want to say one more thing that crossed my mind. You can always email me. Pipeline is the email that you're supposed to email me for at. I don't always see Pipeline. If there's something like burning a hole through you right here, you can always email me at victoria@victoriatorf.com, which I see far more frequently. Just let me know, like in the subject line, that you're in this class, okay? I think I mentioned that maybe before too. Okay. Okay, so